Welcome to the ABWA Inspire Chapter YouTube channel. And we have this channel set up to learn for you out there to learn a little bit more about us here at Inspire. But so today, what I felt the need to do, we just started our channel. We're excited about it. So it would make much to bring the person who started this chapter in on the first interview, and that is Teresa Williams. So I want to thank you first and foremost for taking time out your schedule to be here with us on this interview. And I'm looking forward to even me to learn more about Inspire, for me to learn about Inspire. So Teresa, let's start from the beginning. First, tell us what exactly is ABWA, starting at the national level and then down to our chapter here in Gwinnett County.
Oh, thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you, Connie, for setting this up and for initiating our YouTube channel. Excited to enter into this new era of promotion. So on the social media for InspireHer Chapter. So now a little bit about the American Business Women's Association. Most of us that have been a member would just say ABWA, but it can be a mouthful for new members. So, and even we've heard people say AGWA, and that's okay. But the American Business Women's Association, believe it or not, was founded 75 years ago by a Kansas City businessman. A lot of people think, oh, okay, women's organization, a woman would found it. And his name was Hillary Buffton. He founded the American Business Women's Association as a need at that time, during World War II. I wasn't alive, but the men were all sent off to war. And so somebody had to work in the factories. And so they actually called up women to go work in the factories to take the place of the men. And that was the first time women were out of the household, basically on that type of size. And so when the war was over and the men came back, guess what happened to the women that were feeling a little bit independent and working and getting their oats, so to speak? They were sent back home and to go back to do what they were doing before the war. And so Hillary just thought, we're missing something here. We actually have a great opportunity to provide women with a place for them to get together and to continue the growth that he saw happening. So he met with three other business ladies in Kansas City area, and they founded the American Business Women's Association. And it was based on a place for women to basically come together to network outside of the home. And it kind of grew to provide opportunities, in addition to network, to provide opportunities for them to develop their leadership skills, their educational skills. ABWA provides thousands of dollars in scholarships to women, and also national recognition. So in a nutshell, that's where we've started, and we're still going full force today, 75 years later. So that's quite a testament for this organization.
Huge. That is huge. So how many states are that has ABWAs? Is pretty much all across America?
Yes, there is an opportunity to have chapters all across America, and we at one time did. But just like technology took over some type of manual jobs, with the evolution of technology and other advances, some of the states, the chapters disbanded because there was just no longer that need or willingness to have a chapter. But there is an opportunity wherever there's a need to have a chapter. Right now, we pretty much have a chapter in, I would say, 80% of the states across America, with the largest number of chapters being concentrated in the southeast and south part of the country.
Oh, okay. I
And
didn't know that. I was
yeah.
West. Okay, that's interesting. Interesting. So, Teresa, tell us a little bit about you and the reason why you started with American Business Women's Association. You're
Yeah, I've been a member for 33 years, and it was quite by accident, actually. I was never, up to that time, I was not a one to join an organization. I was more of a single solo person. I was raising my kids, being a wife, going to school. I didn't have time for that type of stuff. But when I found myself newly located to Atlanta area from Iowa, and my daughters were in high school about to graduate and kind of an empty nester. Um, I didn't know so in Atlanta when I relocated here to take a new job. It was exciting, it was adventuresome, but I realized I needed that circle of community. I miss my family, I miss my church home, I miss my um just going to the store and seeing people that I may went to high school with and went to church with. And so I was feeling lonely at times. And even though I started to make connections at work, it wasn't the same. And I went to a educational seminar that was being offered by Franklin Covey. And I walked out, and there was this late table of ladies, and they had some brochures, and they were dressed to the nines. And I'm new to Atlanta. I had not really seen people that looked like me in that volume. And so I walked by, and I came back, and they smiled, and they said hello, and they gave me some information. And they said, "Would you like to join us at our meeting?" I thought, well, I'm going to look like them and act like them. I definitely wanted to join. And so I went to the meeting, found out it was the pyramid chapter of ABWA. And I joined. And it was really quite interesting the first couple of years. I really didn't get that active involved, but I would go to the meetings and I thought it was kind of cool but I really didn't form a network. But I realized I needed a network, a small network. I didn't need a bunch of friends. I just needed a place to go where I felt like I could grow. And when National sent me a letter and said they were starting a new interest group in the area I lived in, which was Stone Mountain, would I be interested in attending? I said, oh, yes. And that's when I actually got very active, when we launched the Hidden Hills chapter of Stone Mountain. And then I stepped up, not kind of unbeknownst to my willingness to take a leadership role. And that kind of launched my whole connection with ABWA. And not knowing what the end result would be, fast forward, I'm glad I did, because I've formed a solid net of girlfriends and friends that some of them are still in ABWA, some are not, but we support each other. And I built my community kind of through ABWA.
What made you stay with ABWA for so long? I mean, that is dedication to an organization, especially in this day and time when, most people don't stay with anything.
That's a great question. That really is a good question because I ask myself that a lot, but you know what it boils down to? Support. Um, it takes a long time for me anyway, to build what I call trusting solid friendships. So I won't say, oh, I had this great group of ladies that I became friends with right away. No, that takes time. When you're younger and you're in school, as a child, that happens easily. That's our job. Go play, make friends. But when you we have all these walls. And so I think what it was support. I found that through my involvement in my chapter, when I was going back to school to get my bachelor's degree, and then I went on to get my master's. During that time, we had a chapter president who was very into recognition and support. And so I wasn't used to that on my job. They're like, they don't care what you do outside your job. And she would constantly, when I would complete a semester or get all A's on my grade report, she would always recognize me in front of the chapter. And I would always be so surprised, sometimes they give me a $50 gift certificate, but it was always some type of recognition of, hey, Teresa, great job, keep going, we're behind you if you need anything. And that support during that period of education, which lasted 10 years. And then I found myself going through a divorce years later. The chapter members are always there to provide support, even in good times or sad times. When I lost my father, people would just send cards from all over the country. It's just really that love and attention that gave me kind of kept me connected. And then there was always somebody reaching out saying, "Hey, can you help me with my campaign?" Or "Can you help me with that?" And not knowing how to say no. It just kind of kept drawing me back in. And next thing I know, 30 some years have passed, and I'm like, I'm still here. Keep trying to get out and relax and retire and pass the baton. But that's really what it's just always something, someone pulling you back. And I really am a big advocate for helping women. And so anytime someone would ask me for my support, my advice, my help, I really like to do what I can, even if it's just call me and we talk, or if I can open up a door to connect them with someone else that has the same type of expertise. That's what I enjoy doing.
Well, and I totally have seen that in you. My time that I have known you, have been about a couple of years now. But when you mentioned, do you think there is going to be a time where you completely are detached from ABWA, or you just going to do it in more of a member than taking on such big responsibility as you have now, as far as being the one who started Inspire Chapter?
Yes, I am. I do. I've always said when I see that I've given everything that I feel like I can give, I want to take a back seat and allow someone else to step up in that place. Because as long as I'm there, no one will step up. And so I see in a year or two, I'm actually moving toward that. I want to just serve as an ambassador from afar. I want to be able to stay connected and be there, but not in a visible, active role in the leadership role. My goal is to just serve as an ambassador because that's what we should do. You gotta know when to ease on out because otherwise, no one will ever try to. They don't want to step on my shoes.
Hmm.
They don't want to. So I need to kind of back off and let the new generation, the new leaders take over and they can call me, but I will see myself stepping out. There's a time to retire from everything, and it just gives me an opportunity to do some other things I want to do.
Oh, that makes sense. Now, the question I'm dying to hear from you is that when did you have this aha moment to say, I'm a member of the national chapter, of course, and I'm a member of this other particular chapter, but now I want to start Inspire Chapter. How did that even come about? Like, take me through that whole thought process to be
Well, that
responsibility.
was easy because when I moved from Southwest Atlanta
Hmm.
in 2018 to Snellville, I was still a member of my other chapter that I'd been a member, and they meet down by the airport. And that drive, and they meet during the week, that drive, and I work from home. So the thought of putting on some clothes, getting myself together, driving down to the airport became less and less appealing. And I looked around and I remembered there used to be a very robust chapter in Gwinnett County. They had over 100 women and members, but they somehow, over time, they ended up disbanding and it was no longer active. So I thought, I'm not ready to totally leave ABWA, but I decided that time I talked to a couple people. I said, would you be interested? And they said, yeah, they didn't know anything about it, about ABWA. And so, with the help of my hairdresser and some of her connections, I roped in my daughter. Um, I basically started it from scratch. We started with a core group of 6 women, and people started spreading the word. And we had our first kickoff in February of 2021. In February of 2020, March, we had COVID.
Yeah.
Um, Shut it down totally. And so up until that time, ABWA basically had always been a in-person type of organization, not virtual. And so we quickly pivoted and went to Zoom. And we just basically, through a lot of hard work, connecting with our connections, we were able to charter the InspireHer chapter that basically was founded out of Gwinnett County area, charter in July with 43 members. And so it's really based off of my personal need of convenience.
Okay. Okay. Sometimes things are just practical. Okay. It doesn't have to be something.
Exactly, exactly.
So, who do you think fit best with ABWA? Like, what type of woman or what characteristics do you think will be perfect for becoming a member of ABWA? It's specifically Inspire to chapter. I'm always gonna toot our horn.
To inspire her chapter, I am not, I don't I really try to stay away from putting categories on women. I really do, and I try to encourage our members to just don't ever try to say, "Oh, she would be good." No, we want all women. Do we? I really am really passionate about diversifying our membership.
Mhm.
Um, I want women to come from all ethnic backgrounds. Uh, I mean, really, really, I'm okay with even all age groups. My desire would be the lady that has gotten her through her in the midpoint of her career, because that's where they look around and say, "Hey, I need a group of women to support me, and I'm thinking about launching my own business, or I would like to support other women because I've been successful." But I'm okay with even the college students coming in because we do need that channel, that funnel. But I don't care where you come from, what job you do, if you are a custodian at a school or if you're a principal at a school. Every woman that comes through our doors has something to offer us. And so I really do want to keep it open. You'd be surprised at the nuggets and the expertise that you get from a woman that you may think, oh, she wouldn't be interested,
Mhm.
and she turns out to be one of our all-star members. So
Yeah, and
that's really my answer.
what I like about it, I want to add to that is that even though it's business association, American Women Business, the keyword business, what I loved about it when I first came to the meeting was about you don't have to literally have your own business, but you're a business. You are a business. It's
Yep.
not about having your own corporation, but seeing yourself as a brand, as a business, and be about.
Eggs.
I think that was the quote. A woman who was going to be about their business. So that's
Yep.
I enjoy seeing is that it's a diversified group of women, and
Hmm.
that just for anytime you diversify anything, it's going to make it better. So it's getting
Yep.
talents and different viewpoints from different types of women from different areas of the country coming together for one accord, and that's to uplift each other. So I totally agree with that, and that was one reason
You are perfect. That's perfect.
That's definitely one reason I wanted to be a part of it. Now, the next question I have for you, Teresa, is that personally, how has the American Women Business Association affected your life? And it doesn't have to be, one of these serious things. It can be learning to laugh more or learning to how to connect better. It doesn't have to be anything
Thank you for that.
official.
That they kept me, they took me off the deathbed. No. Thank you for that clarification, because you're right. I personally think I have learned so much about how to navigate different personalities. I've learned about myself. I've grown myself by that. But what I have learned by being in ABWA and serving in different leadership roles, or even as a member, is it takes a lot of practice to learn how to deal with different personalities, mood swings, different motives. Um, and has it always been easy breezy? No. Have I made everybody that's crossed my path. A friend, no. Um, I've had very situations where it's been difficult, where I've had to figure out, do I go and say I'm sorry or for something I didn't think I did, but I did and unintentionally? How do you, and that's hard to do. It's hard to go to someone and say, I apologize when you don't even know what you're apologizing for. Or if you do know what you're apologizing for, you gotta, that's even harder. So, because you intentionally did it, you know. So I've learned how to do that better. Am I perfect? No. But it's helped me even in my day job because when you go to work, you're dealing with different personalities and different, everybody has a different motive as to why they're there. And even in ABWA. And so it's just helped me see, okay, I've dealt with that person before. It's different name, different face, different time, but I've dealt with that type of person. So this is how I tiptoe around, or this is how I go direct. And so it's really given me a little bit more practice in that area and to not, you know what, the end result is don't take it so seriously, Teresa. You know, you don't have to go home and cry your eyes out because somebody doesn't like you. You know? But there were times when that happened. You know,
Good.
so and not act like, well, okay, you got to be, everybody's got to accept you. No. So,
Very true.
but
So,
that's been my benefit.
okay, and that's so can that can and what I like about how you tied that into how it has benefited you in your workspace, learning to deal with
Mhm.
personalities and these type of things because that's truly a token or a piece of being successful at your job is understanding
Right.
co-workers and working with different personalities that don't necessarily gel and not to take things so personal, even though when it feels personal. So that is definitely one thing that's beneficial, and it's good to hear you put it like that. And that's what I want to go to into the next question is
Mhm.
that when you're talking to someone who's thinking about maybe even watching this video right now, thinking about becoming a member, even if you don't do a member, we would love to have you here at Inspire Chapter. But if you're not in the area, just being a member also at a local chapter near you,
Mhm.
what do you think are some benefits to becoming a member?
That's a great question. It's perfect. It's really timely because I was at an event yesterday and I met two young ladies. They actually were from Houston. And we were just talking about the event we were going to. And we were standing out there and just chatting. And, I was asking, we got to know each other, what do they do? And both of them, and how did they meet? They've been friends for 20 years, they said. And they both started at this for a company they had worked for at the same time, and they just ended up connecting. And during our conversation, um, I found out they really like to they travel to different cities, and they like to go to teas and they like to travel together. And she said, she's my best travel buddy. And so I said, I realized that they really like to support each other and other women. And they were very supportive of our group. They were taking pictures for us and just an open group, ladies. So I said, hey, have you ever heard of the American Business Women's Association? I said, I think you guys would probably enjoy that, even though they were out of Houston. And they said, no. I said, I told them a little bit about it. They said, we really would like that. We really do like working with women. We like connecting. And I gave them my card. I said, when you get home, text me, email me. I'll connect you with some Houston chapters. And we would love to have you check us out. And so really it's all about just realizing that women that want to support other women and women that really feel that there's an area of growth for themselves when they support other women. It's our one of the taglines for ABWA that's been a tagline the whole time I've been a member is changing women's lives one woman at a time. And that's the way I see it. It's all about the connections you make along the way. I may not ever see those two ladies again, may not hear from them, but I believe that they'll go out and check out abwa.org. And if they make a connection with a chapter there locally, they'll eventually tell them, hey, I met this lady in Atlanta, And so it's all about that. It's really about bringing women together across the country. And one of my very best friends that I met during my time serving on the national board of directors for ABWA lives in California. We served together, but during that time, we ended up rooming together. And just over time, 20 years later, we're still sisters. Yeah, so it just, and I also have a friend in Detroit that we serve with. It's just the connection. If you meet somebody that you just click with, doesn't matter where they are.
Mhm. Yeah.
And this lady is she'll kill me, but she's 80 and she's still involved.
Wow.
Yeah, still giving back, still very, very vibrant.
Oh, so it says in closing, and what would you like to leave off on this interview with Teresa Williams? Um, what on the last and closing words, what would you like to say for anyone out there who still have questions or would love to get in contact with us? And of course, I'm gonna leave it in the show notes at the end too, so you can always visit our website. But any closing remarks you have for anybody that out there happen to be listening?
If you wake up one day and you find yourself that, hey, I'd like to connect with some other like-minded women, not because I want to start a business, or even if you want to start a business, but I really am finding I have that area of my life now that I would like to broaden my circle. You may already have a circle, but I like to broaden and meet other women because I'm new to the area, I have a new job, or I just moved over here. Something that's happened that may turn on that light switch where you want to grow. I encourage you to check out abwa-inspireher.org. Check us out, attend our meetings. We meet virtually and in person. There's no charge for guests. If you have any questions, reach out to myself or Connie, send a note through the YouTube channel. We will reach out to you and connect with you, but it's an excellent opportunity to just give you another circle of connections. We all have a lot of multiple circles of connections. This gives you an opportunity to say, check us out and see what we have to offer and what you can offer to us. The women of the InspireHer chapter are all dynamic women. They're very welcoming. I love these ladies. They are basically hard workers, and you'll find that you'll have at least one or two people that you'll come in and say, I like that lady. Let me hang out with her a little bit. So that's what I would encourage you. Just check us out.
And I think that's perfectly said. Simple and to the point. Check us out. You have nothing
Mhm.
to lose. You may gain a huge group of women who are going to keep you encouraged and also inspiring you. So again, check out all the connections. Stay in touch with us here on this YouTube channel as we're going to bring more interviews to you from our own Inspire chapter members. And we have an array of amazing women who has different areas of careers, some of doing things, some wonderful things in the community. And we're going to bring that all to you on the regular basis here on the Inspire Her Chapter YouTube channel, which we're so excited to start. So we thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, again, you know how to reach us. Until next time, ABWA, American Women's Business Association Inspire Chapter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you, everyone.